Today on Gear Reviews, we'll be looking at the Mayflash f300. The Mayflash f300 is an entry-level multi-console arcade stick developed by Mayflash. It claims to work on Android, PC, PS3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One. Opening up the stick, you'll see it comes pretty well secured, and the surface is protected by plastic. It comes with a manual and a micro USB cable. More on that later. As far as design goes, the f300 is nothing fancy. No artwork, and the housing is a matte black hard plastic. It sports a standard 8-button layout with a sunken start button. The stick and buttons themselves are no-name parts, more than likely Mayflash's own proprietary arcade stick parts. While they function fine and I certainly don't see an issue with them, the buttons do feel hollow and the stick is a little too loose for my liking. But seeing as this is an entry-level stick, this doesn't make it much of a negative given its price. Next to the start button is a strip with switches for X input, controller, or PS3/direct input, stick or D-pad, turbo, share, and the PS home button. On the back is a cable. Sadly, there is no USB compartment, which could be due to how small the stick is. Next to the cable, we have a curious USB port. As the box stated, it works for PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and this is how the f300 achieves this. By plugging in a DualShock 4 or an Xbox One pad via the micro USB cable, you will be able to play either console without issues from what I've seen. I haven't experienced anything like the 8-minute timeouts or controllers disconnecting on me in the time that I spent testing it. The only negative to this being you need to carry around the controller for whichever console you plan on playing on. But as far as playing this at home, many will find having the DualShock 4's touchpad to be a very great addition, as not many sticks in this price range, even ones that are a little bit more expensive, have a touchpad. Another plus is the fact that you don't need a DualShock 3 or an Xbox 360 controller to play on either console. Simply switch from X input or the controller input to PS3 direct input and you're good to go. Turning the stick over, we see some thought was put into the design in this stick. The four corners have some anti-slip material, and while I would have liked to see a little bit more of it, I'm glad it's there, as some sticks that are much more expensive have none at all. What can also be seen are holes next to the mounting screws, which are probably for aftermarket feet. Removing the backplate, we see that while not the cleanest or fanciest looking, the wires aren't all over the place. We also see that unlike other cheap sticks, the buttons aren't soldered onto the PCB, though the stick seems to be connected through each micro switch to the PCB. Now on Amazon, the listing states that it is compatible with Sanwa parts, and indeed it seems to be the case, as next to the individual micro switch inputs, we have a 5-pin connector that should support your standard 5-pin harness. Testing the stick out, I noticed that the parts in it aren't the most unplayable thing in the world. They're kind of comparable to Quanba parts. They aren't the worst thing in the world, but they're not great. But compared to parts from Sanwa and Seimitsu and other high quality arcade stick part providers, they are very clearly lacking. After testing the stick, I decided that I would try to mod it with some Sanwa parts I have laying around the office, and as sort of a surprise for the person who won this stick. And as I suspected, the 5-pin connector on the PCB did in fact support the lever, and I went through installing the Sanwa JLF and the Sanwa metallic buttons. Overall, I would say the Mayflash f300 is one of the best entry-level sticks you could get. The multi-console support is great, while maybe a little cumbersome at times for the current gen consoles. The stock parts aren't terrible or great, but with how easy modding the stick is, that won't be much of a problem if you're willing to spend a little extra on quality stick parts. The only real negative I have with this stick is the lack of a USB compartment. That and its weight and size. The stick is quite small and does not have a lot of weight to it. I would say, if possible, pick up the F500 as it has several improvements over the F300 for about $30 more. It's heavier, it's bigger, there's more metal involved than just the backplate that you see on the F300. It's artwork friendly, and overall it has the same features as the stick, including its ability to be modded. But at $59.99 USD, I would say that this one, try it out if you aren't completely sold on the idea of playing on a stick. For anyone else, I would recommend the Quanba Drone or the F500. Hey everybody, thanks for watching up until this point. The reason this video took so long to come out, I know it's near the end of January, and I said this video would probably be out at the beginning of January, is that I got incredibly sick and work took up a lot of time. Around the end, after I posted my last review, which was the fighting game commercials, I got bronchitis. Yeah. That happened, and I was in bed for, 2 weeks. That took me out for a while. But I got this video done. I ran the giveaway and ended it. The guy has already been contacted, and I've already sent the stick out. By the time you see this video, the stick was shipped as soon as I finished filming it. So hopefully this video goes up around the time that he gets it, and I am going to be doing more of these in the future. I have a couple of other sticks lined up that I have either purchased or I have filmed for that I've been meaning to do since last year. I just haven't had the time and had to go through a lot of stuff last year that didn't allow me to work on these gear reviews. So if you liked the video, do the whole like thing. If you liked what I do, subscribe, turn on the bell notification, share this with everybody, click on all of the stuff in the outro video. I haven't really talked about this, but the new thing up there is I started doing these dumbass looking shirts. Well, not dumbass looking, but it's a silly idea that I had, and yeah, we have some shirts now that you can purchase that helps the channel out. There's a Patreon that you can go to that's down in the description that helps the channel out. We're trying to figure out what people want and what will make people interested in becoming a patron. So leave a suggestion on what you would like to see as like perks and rewards and all that stuff. Comment down below if you got any arcade stick, both like just random, like nobody knows, a rare stick, or a common stick that you'd like to see reviewed. and you know, I'll add that to the list, and I'll probably get to it eventually. So that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Have a good day.